Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
Deep into Bayou, Sorel's harsh marshes, Willie Edwards established his life-based and customary hunting, surviving, and passing on in his forefathers' paths to viewers. This bold gator hunter is from Swant. People are a representation of tenacity and familial pride. But Willie's off-camera backstory is far more intricate than the Bayou. Bravado and triple hooks conceal a history characterized by quiet personal loss, difficulties, and obstacles that never made it into the family spotlight due to circulating rumors. And unexpected obstacles on his path have been anything but simple. So what happened to the beloved character who once dominated these seas, and why did he disappear suddenly? The story of Willie Edwards starts in the center of Bayou. Sorel William Edwards III was born in Louisiana. Willie arrived on June 20, 1982. After a lengthy, his parents come from a line of swamp people. Teresa Edwards and Jr. were by trade commercial fishers, make their stay away from the land and the ocean. For the Edwards family, the area surrounding them swamp was not just a place to live. It was the source of identity and food income from wild pigs, frogs, deer, and crawfish. Bayou supplied the family and everything. Knew how to make the most of it. Willie was enmeshed in this lifestyle. From day one, he learned to traverse the streams to fish with expertise, instruct the tools he required, and eventually to pursue alligators, which have evolved into none of them are his hallmark pursuits. Books or classrooms provided the lessons. They were acquired through side-by-side practice. Alongside his younger brother and parent Trandy and I took in everything together about developing more than simply skills and swamp life, but connections that would endure into adulthood in spite of the challenging Willie's way of life at Plamina High School Senior in the neighboring town of Lamini. In the absence of an official document attesting to his graduation, it is evident that his actual schooling occurred far away from any desk he was at, gaining resourcefulness, resilience, and ways to maintain ties to the land. That combination of wetland and conventional education. His education influenced the guy he became. Eventually, viewers would learn on television at the age of 18. William married his sweetheart from high school, Sherbo, who originated in the neighboring village of the pair, Berwick, Louisiana. Got married August 20, 2000, encircled by family members and friends prepared to start their litter that same year. A chapter in the Bayou year, their first child was born, Michaela Deshaye, in October 2000. Michaela, however, did not show up on Swamp. She played a significant role in the lives of the private realm of Edwards' family. She grew up in Louisiana next to her younger brothers in a close-knit group. Sadly, Michaela's family is an outdoor enthusiast, died at an early age. The Edwards family has kept the specifics about she never spoke about her death in private, openly. Discussing the situation, what is recognized originates from a sincere homage to her mom posted on Facebook in October. What would have happened on 20th, 2020? In that message, Michaela's 20th birthday conveyed how much she was missed. Daughter serves as a reminder that despite physically Michaela is no longer with her, presence continues to be felt. Daily Willie Edwards, one day in 2010, emerged as a national celebrity as a participant in the History Channel's series Swamp People is a reality show. Explores the grim daily lives of hunters of alligators operating in Theon of the Atchafalaya River Basin's the most untamed and merciless marshes in America. From the beginning, Willie stood noticed for his composed assurance in hunting with razor-sharp edges and the water instincts. He became a fan right away. But he wasn't alone himself. He made his debut with his father, Jr., a seasoned commercial fisherman. Edwards, they were shown together as a Sorel father-son team, maintaining a strong but proud familial custom that has its roots in the Louisiana. When Swamp Willie first appeared, the first episode of the show Big Head Bites It, which was shown on August 22, 2010. Although the majority of the Troy Landry tracking episode over a huge gator called Big Head Jr. and Willie was seen getting ready in their own alone for the season, systematically creating treble hooks, assembling their equipment, and obtaining their boat. In contrast to some of the more theatrical, their portion focused on hunting scenes, a methodical, hands-on approach that also discreetly posted a larger narrative about the death of Candle as Junior secured the vessel already. Willie was moving into a more actively participating by the time Swamp People in 2011, it entered its second season. Things between Junior and Willie Edwards, among others, the episode Heart has pivotal moments. Chase after Junior gave Willie his own vessel that wasn't only was a practical test, using a symbolic gesture of trust and accountability and leadership. Willie has consistently been keen to exhibit what he was capable of, but now he needed to demonstrate. Of course, it has no safety net. The episode has a severe learning curve. Willie unintentionally removed the rising sun's moment with their oldest shotgun. Fit might have caused the hunt to end, but rather than folding, he pushed through. Full moon fever followed, where he hunted during the day and worked extra time, even capturing snakes in the dark to generate some more revenue. Those early episodes revealed a young guy with genuine despite his perseverance and guts. He wasn't flawless. However, the fact that he didn't back down told spectators what he was composed of. 2011's Water brought about a transformative look. When Willie was still a child, he had suffered a front tooth break in accident as a toddler, and never received it fixed for years. He just came to terms with it would appear like this. But then the Robinson Dental Group took over. Robinson made an appearance on the program and provided Willie with a full dental restart at no cost for the first time in years. Willie could grin with confidence, and it was a watershed moment in his demeanor both throughout and fast forward to season 3 of Off the Swamp 2012. And the hunts were becoming more balanced, more intense. One of the most notable instances so secured during Leo the Lion's battle, a chill-inducing snarl from a gator down your back. But what stood out the most was the growing gator that was out. Conflict between the father and his younger son started to doubt Willie's huntsmith, even disparaging the Willie had made his own hooks in the breaker. 2-episode Junior tossed putting aside their typical treble hook arrangement and chose to use baited poles rather than Willie experiencing pressure to innovate in response. A new hook was created. From the beginning, that choice said a lot. Their methods of hunting and their hoolie approach were starting to diverge by the Crack's 4th season, which debuted in 2013, were getting difficult to overlook, and one breaking as a memorable episode. Willie erred significantly in judgment. He believed a gator had died because it wasn't in the gator almost snapped in an instant, removing Willie's fingers, and seeing his response was raw. He screamed in agony, and Junior hurried to assist. The bite was vicious. Left Willie with severe wounds on the majority. Shattered one of his fingers, and even he had to be hurried home for his toes. Instant care. It was a sobering moment. A reminder of the swamp's lethal nature truly isn't only due to the sheer power of a gator's teeth, yet due to harmful bacteria they frequently carry framed, decayed remnants of whatever they consume. In the final bite could be fatal. Infection. Even if you make it through theft assault, and right as it appeared like there's no way things could get more intense. Willie was struck once more during AHL was an especially difficult hunt. Unintentionally hit by gunshot fragments at incident. Broke in addition to hurting. Something inside of him was exhausted by the mental stress, physical discomfort, and wary of arguing with Junior. Willie made a bold choice that had leaving 175 behind. A huge quantity of empty tags by any standards of a swamp hunter. After stepping, he spent some time away from his father's boat. Upon his return to the marsh, Willie brought a new feeling of direction. In the episode from 2013, he paired up with his young blood for their first solo brother Randy. They went on a hunting expedition and entered Athy called this area of marshes Gator. Heaven remained unaltered for more than 40 years. To get there, you had to persevere. Pathways littered with snakes, yet the danger didn't. Willie was adamant about carving his journey. Despite the familial teeth remained resilient. It was evident that his ambition had become extremely intimate by 2014's 5th season of Willie's Independent sized the lead role in Hooked, pushing Grover Jr.'s skepticism by testing out a lighter treble hook letter in Beast of the Lake. He himself and a horde of hostile cannibalist gators by themselves with no protection safety net. Willie was the only one instincts in his steadfast determination. One of the most significant moments occurred when there are just 2 tags remaining for blood brothers. He and Randy discovered a couple of venomous gators close to a gas station, that it appeared as though 2 reptiles were mirror images of the brothers. Apprehending them personal life felt like a perfect emotional conclusion to a challenging season that had put them to the test. Nonetheless, by 2016 there was a shift in the Willie and Junior were both dropped from the air from marsh dwellers, and there were claims that it was because of a disagreement over pay that Facebook was used by Edwards' family to clarify the air. They adamantly rejected requesting additional funds and clarified that the production company just decided not to return them so they can live on. They never had. Bayou relied on being on camera. They had been making do with Thieland well in advance of the 7th season of the show. Observed Willie's comeback, now entirely on his in Monster Men. He confronted his life-changing largest gator. What would have been a catastrophic surprise at Tacanto, a grueling triumph in that episode, demonstrated beyond a doubt that he was no longer in anyone's shadow. Throughout the ensuing seasons, Willie's grit was continuously put to the test in Vampire Gator. He had trouble starting his season later. Shows such as Good Luck Bad Luck, and he was seen trafficking and times running out. With a volatile market and poacher circumstance in Racing Sundown, he was awake, striving assiduously to tag against the clock before nightfall. There was a period that season 8 felt almost predestined. Willie is suffering financial difficulties. Hunted a huge gator that he thought was the same person who had taken away his treble hook alone in the marsh a year prior. He set out to exact retribution, and the conflict was tau, but he triumphed by tugging was a creature barely 12 feet tall and weighing an incredible 522 pounds. It wasn't it was redemption in 2018, just a catch. Caused heartache and difficulties. Willie adopted fresh tactics in hotter gear. Failure was then handled by Hell, and the lone hunter braved the unsettling seas. Battle of Black Lagoon. But behind the situations where tragedy befell his younger brother and a lifelong hunting companion in an automobile, Randy Dale Edwards passed away. Accident at the age of 35. The news generated shockwaves in fans, and according to the police, cast Alec indicates that the collision happened after Randy mishandled a curve, and it was thought that disability might have played AHL left a wife and 3 children in this capacity. Kids and a family in shock over Thelis to exacerbate the situation. Their head heartbreak has already occurred in the family. Caitlin Edwards, Ree's daughter, was deceased, vanished in front of him while information about her death is kept secret. The back-to-back Edwards were plagued by misfortunes. Online rumors about clans also started to circulate, that Willie was dead himself, but the misunderstanding resulted from the passing of Willie. Another man with a similar name, Willie Edwards Jr., was actually alive and continuing to produce his finest work by 2019. The battles for hunting gators grew even more intimate in Hungary because he faced out against a huge 900-pound gator that had been causing trouble, wreak havoc on his lines and legends because of the engine. Swamp became stranded, failure, but got back on track with blows by locating a well-known enemy. His tenacity was fully displayed. Exhibition, after which a new story started. Willie improved the health of his son, William IV, referred to as Little Willie in the realm, off hunting alligators following graduation from Little Plamin Senior High in 2019 and 2020. Willie joined the show engaging bulls. He formally entered the stage. Willie didn't spend any time in instructing him. The treble is a family's covert weapon. Hook. Willie learned how to land quickly, joyfully holding his first gator with his father observing. Little Willie from the same season. Everyone was surprised when an 11 feet 6 inch using the improvised treble. Hook, the monster, even if it was a rite of passage, drove Willie to tears in season 11. Turned into Little Willie's trial. Faced intense heat, excruciating cramps, and presented a strange yet successful bait, known as the Goozer Pipe, after surviving a hunt on Friday, the 13th, at a location known as Sledding the Season's Graveyard. He earned it in the last hunt of the final showdown. His status as a real swamp fighter by Heatwave Willie and Little. In 2021, it was Willie's first separation. On one boat, Willie re-entered Junior's company. Little Willie assumed control of another. He became exhausted after managing 80 baited lines, but he persisted throughout the day. He recovered from the deckhand and episodes such as Ubicha Life and Firepower. Gator displayed his season-by-season development. 12 Little Willie was obviously no longer a trainee. He was doing well on his path to co-captainship in the youth. The legacy of the Edwards family in 2022 turned around. Willie wasn't simply when he returned to the game. He was burning in thine. The Battle of Black Lagoon episode. He went back to a hunting area they knew well, resolved to resolve the dispute with a renowned gator that he had failed to catch Willie and his team in Swamp Juice before and during. Little Willie, his kid, faced off against friendly contests to determine who possessed their father-son connection was more effective. Tested in the tag team Gators, where Willie concentrated on teaching his son. Getting him ready for the larger obligations that come with living in Little. Willie was obviously in the marsh. He filled every tag by stepping up. He captured a picture of a young hunter, gaining self-assurance via combat through a battle of the sexes. Injuriesto maintained concentration during violent storms. He demonstrated in Swamp Professor that he possessed that tenacity and resolve to persevere no matter whatever the swamp threw at him. But then 2023 arrived. In a moment of bittersweetness in Little Willie is Pickle's hidden weapon. Revealed that he may be departing the leaping. The swamp life behind to labor on land. This was a pivotal moment for Willie, not as a tutor as well as a father. The challenging task of assisting his son in maturity. Despite Willie's continual hunting alone in gators cursed by pirates, his son's absence was still very much felt. Every action he did was filled with pride, being aware that the marsh had influenced that following generation. Simultaneously, fans started to take note of Willie's lengthy absence from the performance. Conjecture of some thought he might be actualistic, and some of them were even rumors of cancer circulating around. Willie never directly responded to the rumors. His absence caused serious worry among fans of the show. Showed their affection and concern online, telling him to be careful, admiring his smile and pondering if he was okay until the beginning of 2024, when his wife Cher sent a sincere message on Facebook. She discussed the toll that cancer may have on the spirit as much as the body. She explained the suffering, the doctor's psychotherapy, and the psychological burden of all along, but she never verified who was as she battled the illness. Her comments resonated. For many, particularly those who had experienced exomal difficulties, Willie ultimately reiterated on January 18th. The Swamp People fans were thrilled to see him in 2024. They returned to the action and rushed into the hit social media accounts comment sections uploading his comeback and anticipating more. He has yet to speak anything about his break, but it was evident that he was the Swamp Legend. Season is still going strong. 15 of the Swamp People began with A-Bang Troy Landry. The Swamp King create a memorable goal catch to establish the scene. The Landry crew had 900 gators in a single season, such as Dehan Cheyenne and Jacob Chase Picklewheat were tasked with to begin. They hit 40 gators each, flowing swamp, and by the end of on the first day, they came quite close to that gator aim of 80. But following that explosive beginning of the season began to feel repeated. Boat after boat, tag after tag, everything started to mix together. Distinctive Sinjin charm of Troy and the delight of Pee-wee's clever one-liners was diminishing. It wasn't until the emphasis moved to the Edwards household that things really came to life once more. Willie and Little Willie was pursuing a huge gator that had been preying on animals. They were running low on tags, and with only a small skiff and no treble hook they pursued a beast. But it turned out must have a catch designated and be longer than 13 feet, a pivotal moment. Quantity wasn't the focus. It was now about quality and risk. Shortly after they met, this other creature even had a name. This 12-footer has unadulterated force. Gator escaped during their initial tree to leave young Willie with Athy arrived with a damaged ego and a burned hand. Returning with a more clever scheme to set a trap, this time they avoided being close to a gator nest. Missed the catch, brought back to life anticipation of the season and a reminder what made Swamp People so captivating fans. First of all, season 15 did notably with Willie demonstrating his commitment to top power, but Willie isn't really coming into he wasn't merely an apprentice. He was now developing into a full-fledged swamper, going on risky hunts, gaining knowledge from errors, and demonstrating his may continue the Edwards family's legacy. Then season 16 arrived, which escalated an additional level to the latter episodes, such as the last 48 hours were grueling. Tension hunters have to deal with anything from storms to ferocious gators, and eventually as they ran out, they were forced to. The energy was electric at ultimate limits. As well as fans stuck to the screen. And however, Willie took another action in 2025, returning from the limelight. Fans weren't glad about it, since social media exploded with people wanted to know where he'd gone, responses simultaneously. Tiny Willie was making his mark by moving forward and keeping up the family custom in spite of not taking center stage on the show. Willie continued to hunt. In here uploaded a picture to the internet in September 2024. Little Willie was standing next to a huge gator. Supporters bombarded the post with remarks praising his comeback to their swamp. There isn't an official word yet on Willie's potential return to swamp. He has been a mainstay in the series,